got here? All right. Folks will be showing up here in a minute, hopefully. I'm going to just post some links. All right. All right, there's one. I know there's all this social media stuff going on right now. I don't really know what what to do about it, so I don't have time to think about it today. So today I'm posting on Instagram and Twitter or X or whatever the heck we're calling it now. Here we go. One more. Oh. All right. Cool. All right. Let's see if we got anybody in the room. Hey, we got at least one person. So we'll roll into this in a second here. Hope everybody can hear me all right. I have been crazy busy, so have not been doing the live streams the last couple weeks. But it's good busy. You know, it's all good. It's good stuff. Hello, everybody. Hi. No, I've just been busy with work and with family stuff and all kinds of stuff, you know. So, yeah, just been not been able to get online in a minute. But tonight I had some time and I wanted to look at some comics and try to sketch a little bit. I'm not sure if I'll get a complete drawing done, but the goal will be to work on a little drawing a gambit here. But before we do that, I was thinking about these two things lately, and so I pulled some of these books out. I've been thinking a lot about this Doug Braithwaite Punisher run. Now, Doug worked on it for this run, and I think some other times in the 90s, and then a lot of people will know he worked on the Garth Ennis run, the Punisher Max run. He did one of the stories where they go to Russia and attack the missile silo. One of my favorite arcs in the Ennis run. It's really a really cool arc. And, you know, I know 90s Punisher is almost like a totally different animal than that. It's a little more over the top. So it was kind of interesting to see Doug on the Ennis one, which has a little more of a realism to it. But Braithwaite's one of those artists that can just draw anything. And so, you know, it's always fun to see him do anything, but especially on the Punisher, I think he does a really cool job. And back at this time, I don't know if a lot of people remember these or fondly or not, but I kind of do. I think this Euro hit run gets kind of a bad rap. But let's take a look at it and see. We're not going to look through all of them because that will just be too much, but I definitely want to show a couple things from the end of it. So it is, I mean, just really tacky, overdone sort of font for this series that he did. But he kind of had a way of drawing Punisher that was sort of really blocky, and that was accentuated depending on the inker. At the beginning of this, I think we got Al Williamson on inks, and Al Williamson, I've sung his praises before. Everybody knows Al is one of the best inkers ever. Kind of makes everybody look good. But even with him over it, there's a lot of really cool chunky shapes, and he gives the faces kind of like a very hardened look to them. And his Punisher has kind of this grizzled look to him, which he accentuates even more in the Ennis run. And then, yeah, he can just draw anything. Like, this is just a motorcycle. This is definitely not from reference. Like, there's not a motorcycle that looks like that. But this is the kind of thing I love that we don't... Like, I feel like I don't see as much anymore in comics, and that's artists just drawing the thing. Like, not having access to 100 different pieces of 3D models and reference on the internet and all that. they might be able to find a picture of a motorcycle from some angle somewhere in a magazine or a library book. But a lot of times they're just kind of inventing things, and I like to do that. I like to feel like I can draw a car without having it be a specific car, but just be like my version of a car. And so that's kind of what Doug is able to do. He draws, vehicles and weaponry. The weaponry does skew more realistic, which I'm okay with. And geez, the number of ads in these 90s books too, man. But you get some great Williamson inks here. He's like a very efficient storyteller, Braithwaite is. And then when the action starts, the figures get really kind of a little more dynamic. The colors aren't doing a lot of favors here. Is this Roses? Who is this? Christy Scheel. Yeah, it's a little not great. And then, yeah, he did these weird feet. And I remember when I was a kid and I saw this, I was always like, whoa. His feet look crazy. But I don't know. It's grown on me over time. But look at this, man. This big explosion up here. Thoom. And that's a Beamer, but that's not a specific Beamer that he traced from a model, right? And now he hops on a dirt bike. This 90s Punisher was definitely doing more sort of like, Triple X style extreme sports stuff. On vehicles, he would do vehicles and kind of crazy stunts in the books a lot. That issue is kind of boring, actually. I don't remember the exact plot line on this, but I picked up this series like over a number of years. Let's jump ahead a couple issues. A couple of these, at a time in like quarter bins and stuff. Here's like looks like I got this like graham cracker in 06. Some of these other ones I probably got other places. But this was just a run that I had one of them when I was a kid, which I lost it or traded it, and then as an adult I was like, man, I want to find those, like that whole series, because I only had the one issue, which I'll show later. So yeah, here we get Jimmy Palmiotti in on the inks, and you can immediately see it's a lot more angular, and the spotted blacks are a little more prominent than they were with the Williamson inks. Williamson has a brushy sort of organic style, and Palmiotti's stuff tends to have a kind of a what's the word for it? Like a more kind of solid look to it at this point in time. But then he still adds these little sort of kind of single hatches, which is something that I really like to do. But I actually like Palmiotti over Braithwaite here. The stuff starts feeling a little more simplified and readable. The Williamson stuff was great, don't get me wrong, but like that's pretty rad. And Williamson would have inked that in a way that was maybe a little less angular, I would imagine. But this guy, he's got these like nice chunky shapes and a lot of texture in the inks on the jacket. I'm not so sure about this as a storytelling moment right here. This like full body figure right next to another page of a full body figure. Of course, I do that all the time, but something about the way these two aren't the same size exactly is a little weird. Great pose and everything though. Braithwaite's stuff has a little bit of that chunkiness that reminds me of I don't know, somebody like Bisley or even Kirby to some extent. There's I know those two are very far from each other, but the kind of blockiness of some of the fists and the feet and things like that. Hey, Jeremy Heiler's here. Hey, I'm glad somebody showed up. Jeremy, how you doing, buddy? But yeah, just flipping through this here. Oh, look at that, Battletoads. Everybody remembers that. That was a big game. And yeah, I mean, Braithwaite just is so adept at just inventing. Like he's just inventing all of this, right? And again, that's just something you don't see as much nowadays. A lot of us just use models of rooms and the millions of photos that you have access to at all times. And the work is I wouldn't say it's necessarily better for it or worse for it. It's just different, right? Like seeing someone just draw in a space like this out of their head, you know, they can really be specific with how they use it in the composition and make kind of neat decisions. And how cool is that image of Frank right there? That is so rad. But whereas I think sometimes, and you can play with the perspective a little bit, you know, when you're doing it this way, but when you're working from a model or a photo, it sort of loses a little bit of that inventiveness, which gives you just little flourishes and little, you know, sometimes awkward or sometimes really amazing uses of the space that wouldn't have been there in a reference photo. But anyway, yeah. Frank's going all over shooting people, as always. This is kind of a cool page. It's kind of a montage of him chasing down dudes with this big X. That's kind of cool. I gotta steal that. The war goes on, it says. That's pretty cool. Let's do a couple more of these, and I want to show these Karl Wirsum books. Jeremy Heiler, not bad. Finished the second Batman book. Oh, cool, man. I bet you're tired. Oh, cool. Yes, Heroes. That's right. You'll be there, man. Heroes is going to be an absolute blast. I can't wait. Let's see. Let's find another one here that looks good. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm excited for Heroes 2. Should be a good time. This one I don't think is part of the Euro hit thing, but I wanted to see it because I remember, yeah, look at that. What a way to open the book. Big old punch. This was that period of time when the blood was rarely super red. Man, this is cool stuff. Again, just drawing the vehicles and the buildings kind of from his head. And it really gives it a cohesive look, you know. Every little thing has the hand of the artist in it, and so it feels a lot different. Again, not to say that using models and stuff is bad. I do it sometimes, and not to saying it's like one way is better. It's just, you know, sometimes it's nice to see that this is a good thing to see. Now, I will say this looks a lot like the Interceptor from Mad Max. I would imagine if he had any reference, he was looking at the Interceptor for that. Oh man, yeah. He always had him wearing kind of gear and like this blockiness of the legs and stuff. I really like that, the way Braithwaite does that and the way these blacks are spotted. Oh, cool silhouette right there. But yeah, he had a pretty good run, and I think this is another one with Paul Miotti on inks. Him and McKenna Hardy, I don't know who that is. But look at that. His face just gets so gnarly in these. You know? But drawing that this is sort of a classic comic thing to draw, but it's also one of the more difficult of the classic poses when you got hands coming forward. He also has the perspective of a staircase there. It's really nice. It's really nice. I will say some of the Paul Miotti inks make it, and this is maybe something that I like about it, but maybe isn't a desired effect, but it makes things look a little metally because he has a lot of these fat to thin lines that kind of weave through the face and kind of make it craggy. But since there's not hatching on them, they tend to look a little, you know, wet, I guess is the word, when you have inks like that. But I kind of like it. It abstracts everything a little bit. Like this kind of feels so, what's the word for it? Kind of graphic, you know, very, very designy. Oh boy, that's rough. Okay. All right, let's do one more of these Punishers, and then, yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, you're catching all that stuff. Yeah, you can scoop up whatever you need, man. I'll have everything with me. I think pretty much everything. Some new stuff. I'm probably even going to bring a few Schlub variants, and I'll definitely have the whatchamajigger, the trade paperback. So that will be cool. And kind of stuff. There we go. Oh, come on. So this is the one that when I was a kid I remember having, and this one's crazy, man. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. Or like right after this is one that's in an annual that I have, I think is what it is. And this cover is so rad and so insane. Look on his face, like the, you know, he's got the chain gun. He's got these guys got chains around him. There's an explosion behind him. There's this foot in the foreground. Man, that's wild. Bullet casings everywhere. We got the center lighting. Man, that's That's really crazy. Yeah, so this wraps up with a giant fight scene on a roof, which I guess I didn't bring that one out. That's what I wanted to show, where there's a guy in a helicopter and stuff. But I believe this one was a like another 3-part series. So Euro Hit was like a 6-issue thing, and then this is a like a 3-issue thing. But I think he's fighting against a special cops force. But here we go. There's the money shot. And I love that, man. If you're going to put it on the cover, it better be inside the book or like have something to do with what's inside the book. But that's insane. I wish he had broke the panel border with these bullets here. I don't know whose decision that was, but well, I guess it makes it seem like it's firing from here and those were in the past maybe, but then you have the pipes breaking it up here. I don't like that at all. But this is rad. This is rad. Again, he's just drawing like cars and buildings like just on the page. That's nuts. Nobody does that anymore. Like nobody does that. Like some cartoonists do, but they usually work with a very limited set of perspectives, right? Whereas in a comic, you're going to have, generally a mainstream comic is going to have a lot more kind of forced angles and changes of the placement of the camera, if you want to call it that. So it's, I think, pretty impressive when a dude like can just draw all this on the page. That's another great one right there. That actually looks familiar to me. Maybe he was checking out one of them Nom movies. Yeah, this guy goes nuts and is like, the next issue starts with him chasing him. I love this silhouette down here. Oh man, that's cool. And even just that blue-green that they put on it, that's really nice. That is very nice. Oh, and now we just have a wordless fight scene. I love those. I love those. He does a lot here to create depth in the panels with a lot of foreground, close-ups with people into the background, but he's not having to draw full-on perspective in these. This is all sort of looks eyeballed because he's got enough forcing going on with things like these hands and foot in front here that it doesn't really, you don't need to create the full illusion. What a cool little fight this was. Look, and you get all the beads of sweat all over him. This is cool. This is really powerful here too. This looks like a different inker, or at least from who was in the beginning. See, Braithwaite pencils, Rubinstein, Palmiotti, and Williamson. He's got the whole crew on this one. They must have been coming down to the wire here. They got all 3 of those guys inking. I'm telling you, I can tell the difference. This would be Rubinstein right here. Probably my least favorite of those 3 inkers. Still pretty good. This is rad. Nice. Yeah, right here. This is the one. This is like a foil issue, which is the next issue after this that is the conclusion. And that's the one I'm thinking of. I still have that one. I guess I just didn't pull it with this group here. All right, so real quick, I also want to look through these Karl Wirsum books. I wish more people knew about Karl in the comics world. He's more of a fine artist. He was one of my professors at School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and he was a member of the Harry Who, which is a Chicago group of what they called themselves was imagists, and it was a group of artists that, to my best of my recollection, I think it was in the 60s, maybe in the 70s, maybe even a little bit later than that. They were, it would have been the 70s, I guess, yeah. They kind of worked in these styles that evoked things like comics, although it wasn't exactly comics, These were drawings, paintings, different things. And he was my professor at SAIC, and he was one of the only professors that was supportive in a real way of me doing comics. I mean, none of my teachers really argued with me about it, but they didn't really have much to offer or encourage. And Karl really was great about helping me think about comics in a different way, because he was thinking about them in a different way, right? Like he had worked adjacent to the medium for years, as you could see influences on his work from it. the way he would reduce things just to solid shapes and kind of exaggerate figures and, very cartoonist adjacent. And so to hear him sort of give me advice on comics was so much different than, say, talking to another professional that I might have met somewhere. And I encourage everybody to show their work and comics to people that don't make comics, and not just randos. Like, that's cool too, but I mean like other artists, like musicians or jewelers or painters or graffiti artists or writers, and just get feedback on it, because you'll get something out of it. So Karl is pretty amazing. He became more and more one of my favorite artists as I looked at his work and then got to know him, a little more. When I first had his class, here he is. There's Karl. He's like a short little guy, and he painted standing up with like a piece of wood braced against the wall. This was an exhibition of his work that I went to, and it would have been it was at the Chicago Cultural Center. 2007, 2008. Wow. So this would have been when I moved back to Chicago after my LA stint. And so Karl was having an exhibition, sort of a career-spanning sort of exhibition at the Cultural Center. And I went to it, and it was awesome. Not only was it just amazing to go there, and I went to a gallery talk with Karl. And Karl, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe him. When we first started taking his class, it was almost like he was speaking English, or but from the perspective of an alien, right? It's not that he didn't, he doesn't have an accent or anything, but he just would always try to find the most perfect word for every situation. And so he would have all these different words he would use that maybe weren't common parlance, but they were kind of Karl words. One of them was modality. And so when I went to the gallery talk, he carried around like a little speaker and talked about the work, which was really fun and really awesome. And while I was there, I ran into Chris Ware. And this is not interesting at all. That's all the exhibition information. I ran into Chris Ware, and I was like, "Are you Chris Ware? I mean, you must be, right? Like, because you're pretty distinct looking." And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, I really love your work. I didn't know you followed Karl's work." And he said, "Yeah, I love Karl's work. He's a huge fan." And I told him how I was in Karl's class. I mean, I took Karl like 4 times. He was like my professor in school. Like I took his class a lot, in independent studies with him and stuff. And Chris was like saying, "Wow, you got to take classes with Karl?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like at the time, I didn't know kind of how amazing a lot of people thought he was. So then he would also do these are wood cutouts. So he paints these images on wood that is cut into this shape by almost like a CNC or something. I don't think it's even a CNC, because he was doing these in 94. He could have been using a CNC. But it's really cool because it looks like a drawing, but it's actually a piece of wood. Here you can see one that has some dimension to it. Some of this isn't reading great on my setup, but his stuff has a lot of kind of, like I said, like cool shapes and cool sort of decisions about how to portray lines and textures. These neon ones, these like ones on black, are very cool. This one is really amazing. I was looking at this one the other day. His work is work I can just stare at and really, really, really love and enjoy over and over. There's something really familiar about it, even though these aren't characters that anyone would know, or they feel familiar, but they're playful, they're sort of psychedelic, they seem a little dangerous in some ways. So this is Karl Wirsum, and so if you've never looked at him before, here's a little, oh man, these color pencil ones too. Here's a little sample of his work, and search him on Google. You'll find a bunch. He has an installation at the Midway Airport here in Chicago. He's got paintings all over the place here, but his work is pretty well regarded, and he hung out with a lot of other cool artists like Jim Nutt and I can't even remember all the images. There was like 5 or 6 of them in the images group. So that's Karl Wirsum. Look him up. Check out some of his work. He's passed, sadly, but he is a very he is a very big influence on me. All right, So I'm going to try to sketch a little bit, and we're going to see how that goes. I don't know how that's going to go. I was hoping to have something sketched before I came on the stream, but unfortunately, you know, I had to watch, not unfortunately, I had a great day watching my kid. Me and my kid had a really awesome day today, but I didn't really get to draw at all. Because we went to a nature, like a nature area in the city here, and walked around and saw some turtles and some ducks with little ducklings, and got to walk around and play in the woods, and it was a good time. But no drawing, alas, no drawing. So I have this commission to do of Gambit, and yeah, Jigsaw or Router, very good. Yes, exactly, Jeremy. Sorry to miss that. Oh, Jeremy, and then Strangelove. Yes, Strangelove, Router. Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna sketch a little on this and see if we can figure out a Gambit. But if not, you know, whatever. We'll either give up or we'll just try something. You know, try something else. Do something fun for a minute, and then see where we go. So I was doing little tiny sketches here, which are maybe hard to see on here, but of different layout ideas. The person was interested in Gambit, sort of this commission to reference Gambit in that last episode of X-Men 97, which I won't talk about if no one's seen it, but it's pretty rad, and it features Gambit in a pretty cool scene, but Gambit's not in his normal outfit in it. He's in like a tuxedo, kind of a white tuxedo. So that's actually sort of a challenge in some ways, because one of the things I usually rely on with Gambit is he's got such a cool costume that you can sort of, he can be doing anything, and if you do the costume right, it kind of looks cool, because you got the big coat, and you got the shape of the head sock that gives you that nice black shape on his face for a focal point, and you have all the sort of tubing that you can render out, and you know, the metal boots, and he's kind of a cool cheat character, sort of like Cable, honestly. Like, and I say cheat, you know, jokingly. Like, I love drawing those characters, and I don't think they're easy necessarily. But you can focus on some of those accoutrements, even if you don't have a great pose or a great concept. But this is a very specific concept, and, you know, I can probably play with it a little bit. I probably don't have to generate an exact match of the fight that they want to see. But I would like it to evoke that. He's fighting a giant sentinel as part of the problem, and this is, I believe the person asked for a 6x9, so the trick is going to be, how do I bring that storytelling in there on that scale. Yes, Jeremy, I did have a great time. Strangelove, my kid's 4 right now. Playing around tonight, that's right. BMC Comics, good to see you, pal. Thanks for joining in. So I don't know, guys. I'm trying to just think of a pose here, and then trying to figure out how I want to tie that into the you know, how I can fit a sentinel kind of in there somehow. And so right now I'm sort of just playing with shapes, honestly, to see if I can come up with something that, like a cool shape that can kind of maybe get me started into a pose. I think he's mostly fighting with his staff in this, so I won't be having him throwing any cards or anything, which is another go-to with a Gambit drawing. It's like, throw the cards, you know. I like the staff, though. The staff is pretty cool. I like it when he uses the bow staff. But yeah. Do you guys have any favorite Gambit artists? Well, that feels... So I'm sorry if this part's a little hard to capture, but I was trying to zoom in. Let me see if I can mess with it while we're live. Is that even possible? Oh boy. Here we go, fam. Okay, let's try that. How's that look, everybody? Jim Lee, that's a good pick. That's a very good pick. All right. Jim Lee obviously is probably one of my favorites for sure. Silvestri does an okay gambit. Portasio's gambit's pretty cool. Of those kind of early guys, Joe Mad does a great gambit. Joe Mad does a really great gambit. He gives him a little more weight, you know, but he draws great hands and cool faces. So he's pretty good for a character like Gambit that's sort of a face guy. You know what I mean? Joe Mad Gambit. Yeah. There we go, folks. You know how it is. So there's also a couple shots in this scene where he's sort of running. He's sort of running and there's like lasers and rubble kind of blasting up all around him. And that would be kind of cool. Because then it's just sort of you're seeing the attack and not necessarily the sentinel itself. And then I could just focus on a cool pose. A cool running pose, which I might seem a little stereotypical, I guess, for me. But hey, give the people what they want, you know? He's got the thing is twirling. And there's like the save, pal. Yeah, the hair flop, definitely. Which is another thing in this X-Men 97 episode. He's got his hair back in a ponytail. So not only is he not in his costume, but he's in this ponytail look. But it's a really iconic moment for the show, so I totally understand why the person might want that. Because the show, I think, is, again, not with spoiling anything, I think is really amazing, really well done, and will bring in a whole new, series of fans, I would hope, or a whole new kind of appreciation for the characters as portrayed during that time period, which I think a lot of people my age consider to be the best age of them, obviously. I know that there's going to be some differing opinions depending on your age. But I feel like they've done a lot with that sort of era. So there might be something in there. I can't tell yet. I'm not finding the staff yet, but maybe if I don't I was going to make it spinning originally. I could look up which hand he's using. I feel like he's probably using both hands, and it probably doesn't matter. But these are the kind of things that sometimes we get hung up on with the commission. Is like, well, if I don't put it in the right hand, is the guy going to think that it's not right? But it's like, no, man, just make it look cool. I was having trouble finding reference of the episode other than just watching it, so depending on if I can find that outfit, we'll see how far I can get into this. But there's something right here. There's something here. I feel like it's in here somewhere. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm happy to be back on here for a minute like this. Um, oh yeah, it's definitely not a kids show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for sure. But I would say it's probably a teen show, and that's probably more important than being a kids show. I think it has a lot of the same energy that the best kind of anime has. So, but with that very uniquely X-Men soap opera kind of feeling. Well, there's something there in the top. I don't know about the bottom here yet. I also got some new paper today. Nothing fancy. I was just running out of paper for commissions. I had every other kind of paper I needed. I had paper for pages. I had paper for my new project, my manga paper. I just got a big shipment in, and but what I did not have was commission paper. And I'm about to go to Heroes, so I was like, I probably should get some commission paper. Okay, something's in here. Something is in her. There's a gambit in here somewhere. I feel like I'm pretty sure. I could be saying this wrong, but I'm pretty sure Michelangelo used to talk about, you know, kind of finding the figures in the marble, like they're in there and he's just chipping away at everything that's not them, And sometimes it feels that way with drawing. It's not that I have some specific vision in my head. I might have an idea, and then I sort of try to let it, if I have time, and if I'm doing it just for myself, like a commission where I don't have anyone telling me, art directing it or writing a script or anything, I just kind of try to see what comes out of the process, right? And just sort of open up a little bit and see if something cool emerges. I mean, this is very Tyrell, but that's what people want, right? That's what I want. All right, something there. Not 100% on this leg. If I do that, I might change this a little bit. Mon ami. Let's see. Happy Tuesday. Netflix show Scott Pilgrim takes off. I have not watched it. I can't say I'm very... I've not immersed myself in any Scott Pilgrim stuff, really. I saw the movie one time. I've looked at a couple of the comics, but haven't dove in, really. Yeah, the backgrounds and stuff. Don't forget to like the stream, peeps. Well, thanks for the reminder like this. Yes, don't forget to like the stream. And we want you to squash and stretch characters. That's my signature style. Well, you know, I try to have no style. But yes, that is something I do enjoy doing. I like to mess with their proportions and Gambit. I always liked Gambit. I remember there was times, people I was around don't like him because he's sort of like a ladies' man or whatever. But I'm like, that's cool. Whatever, man. That's cool. He was cool. He had cool powers, and a cool look, and he was always sort of like cool, like kept his cool in situations, and I always thought that was awesome. Like, he always seemed like cool as a cucumber. Not sure about that face I just drew on him, though. It's probably not going to work. It's got to feel sort of intense, but still sort of Gambit, I'm not sure about that angle either. Let's think about our shoulders here. So if he's got a neck, and he should have a neck. I think, and I lost it. Let's just open up again here. See what comes out. Get rid of all that. Oh boy, okay, here we go. Come on. Let's get back where we were. I've been actually having a bit of a drawing slump lately, where sometimes, like maybe for a few days, you kind of just feel like you've lost all ability to draw. And I know it'll pass, it always does, but boy, oh boy, is it frustrating, man. Ugh, it's so frustrating. Strange Love says, YouTube recommended me. Well, that's great. That is so cool. Well, thanks, man. Well, there is a link to my website right there in the description, tyrellcannon.com. You can see a lot of the work I've done on that website and find all my socials on there. So I'll just send you there. And I try to come on here on Tuesdays. I draw comics like The Schlub at Image, Eris for myself, Beef Bros, various covers for books like Do a Power Bomb and other things like that sort. But that's so cool that YouTube actually did something for me. Sometimes the hand doesn't want to follow, the mind doesn't want to think, and the eye doesn't want to see. I feel you there, brother. It's like I want this. I had this arm doing something that I liked, and then I tried to change it. Okay, I think I got a little bit of that back. Got a rainy night here in Chicago, so got the windows open. I love a good rainy night. You know, Steve Scroce did a cool Gambit too. I think he did a great job on Gambit. He did that little Gambit series for a minute. It was pretty good. All right. Well, I still think there's something here. Something's going on here. Okay, let's focus a little bit on what I had here in the background idea was sort of this exploding bricks situation. Maybe some lasers coming at him from Super Sentinel. Something like that. Over-the-top zany action adventure, a lot of video game references, if you were into that. Okay, well, you know, that's cool. Tried to do combos, huh? Yeah, it's good to sort of, I don't know. There's something I think that's universal about a lot of acts of creation, and also sports maybe to some extent. It seems to me like there's something about it that is outside it that you got to sort of let go a little bit, and it's hard to do because you learn how to do things and you think about how to do them. But you get in this flow state sometimes, and then everything feels really just natural, you know? On a good day, I'll weave in and out of there for, you know, maybe a couple hours if I'm lucky. Some days or weeks, like this last few weeks, it feels like it's never gonna come. It feels like, oh my God, I'm done, I'm cooked, you know? I'm done, I'm finished. I'll never draw again. And of course, that's probably not the case, but that's how it feels sometimes. Good laser dodging, that's right. You understand. You understand lasers. Oh god, I don't really know exactly what this tux looks like. Don't know if I want to look it up right now, so I'm going to fudge it for now until I can at least get this pose figured out. There we go, that's maybe something. What if we did something like that? Would that work? There's something going on over here with this arm. Okay, maybe. Maybe that's close to it. Something is going to have to give in here with this jacket, but that might be something right there. You know, it's really weird how Gambit has never came in. I feel like during that time when the X-Men movies were coming out was sort of when people didn't like Gambit. Am I crazy? That's when I was feeling like people were sort of like, oh yeah, Gambit was lame. I don't know, man. But when they did have him in the movie, it was not good. It's not good. Not good at all, man. That X-Men Origins Wolverine movie is just, it's a good, bad movie, I think, but it is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's so very just corny, you know? Like, not even just the execution, which is terrible, but the writing and the character designs and the casting is so bizarre in that film too. Okay, I think we got something here. I think we got something here. I'm not 100% on this, but I think that's the problem. Yep, that's the problem. Problem solved. Okay. Okay, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Strange Love. Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth is pretty good, though. You know? Yeah, sure. Liev was alright. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I guess not all the casting was terrible. I'm probably mostly thinking of Will.i.am, you know? And then, isn't that the one with, like, the guy who's, like, Bobo Stifler, that plays Stryker or something? That never sat well with me either. And of course, I mean, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine obviously makes sense. That was good casting. I liked that. The guy, who's the guy that like could shoot really good? That was in the team at the beginning. I can't remember what character that was supposed to be. He was all right too. Not that he was really in it much, but. Okay, guys, I think we have something pretty all right here. I'm not so sure about that. That's feeling... Maybe instead we do something like this. Or... Yeah, we'll do that instead. Alright. So that means I actually have to see what this freaking tuxedo looks like. So, give me a minute. Gotta look this up. This is gonna be wild, guys. I don't know if anyone's gonna get this, if this is gonna work. Yeah, Will.i.am, very 2008, yes. It's a good point, Eli. I like the wake up part. That's pretty cool. Okay, you guys are convincing me. I gotta just watch it again and see how, see how bad it is. Okay, so like I looked up X-Men 97 Gambit, like final episode, and I cannot find his freaking costume here. I found some other cool drawings of Gambit, but not here. Let me just do Gambit suit, or tux maybe. Oh, you're killing me here, Google. I guess I'm not on Google. Maybe that's the problem. You know what? I'm going to have to look at it on YouTube, I think. right, bear with me. Let me see if I can find it here. Gambit. Here we go. Okay, let me just find a pause here. There he is. He rides a motorcycle. That's pretty rad. So, okay. Oh, and he's got like a, okay. So, okay, he's got like a scarf on. And a bow tie. Okay, scarf and a bow tie. We can do that. We can do that. Nope. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, everybody. Silk scarf. Remember it. Yes, Nick Frost forced a very good recommendation there. That would have helped. This pose is spectacular. Thanks so much, man. So this scarf is the other thing I got to play with here. So that's cool. That's going to solve some issues for me. Oh, yeah. Sometimes the reference is the answer. Okay. Okay, so buttons in the shirt. And a bow tie. Oh yeah, there we go, guys. I'm finding it. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Man, that was the jam though, dude. Watched every week with my brother. Alright, this face is on the verge of cool, but it feels... I'm elongating my faces a little more lately, which I like, but I'm not 100% on this specific one right now. Now we're going to go up like that. Okay. Pull it back, ponytail coming out here. Well, come on now. It's in there. Where's he at? He's in there. Where is he at? He's in there somewhere. All right. Come on now. Where is it? Let's draw the that structure again, make sure I'm not forgetting something obvious. Silk scarf is definitely on here. Silk the shocker. Oh man. If only I could have his head sock right now. It's like I don't know. It's like it feels wrong to draw him without it. Gambit. Darn faces lately. Okay, we're gonna just we're gonna see what happens. Let's just see what happens here. And I can always redo it if I don't like the results. So we're gonna see what happens. This is definitely not it, this face. We're going to give him one more shot, and then we're going to just kind of work around it for a minute. Kind of sad the rain stopped. I was hoping that would continue for the rest of the night, but maybe it'll pick back up later. I don't know. I don't know, folks. Yay! All right, we're gonna work around that for a minute. Let's just shake it off. We'll do a little bit of inks here, and we'll see where we can go from there. And if we don't finish it tonight, hey, we don't finish it. It's okay. You know, sometimes you don't finish it tonight. I'm gonna give it until this leftover latte is gone. And hey, why don't we just go right in here with the pen, the brush pen. Zoop. We're just gonna go at it, man. Oh yeah, here we go. That's it. And check this out. Look at this little hand right here. Use some of these these like straight lines on the torso here, kind of like we saw Braithwaite doing with Palmiotti. See, sometimes you just like, I try to think, okay, what was I just looking at? What can I sort of incorporate from that to make this feel cooler, you know? Go. We're going to try to keep these big, bold, and not too over thought and worked down here. I think that did the trick. See, you know, sometimes you just got to battle it out with the pencils for a little bit, and then you get the sweet, sweet feeling of the inks. Okay, here's laser 1. Laser 2. Laser 3. It's going to go back behind him over here. Gonna have an explosion right here. Some bricks will come out of there. Maybe some kind of explosion on that side. Big explosion up here in the front. Okay. And then, oh boy, all right. I'm going to try to knock in a little bit of these speed line shapes on the ground here. A little more, but we'll see what happens here. See, look at that. We're starting to see a gambit here. Haven't found my love for inking yet. I'm definitely more on the fan of penciling. You know, Eli, I've been there, buddy. I've been there. It's tricky, man. It's a process, right? And every step of the process, I feel like, brings you closer to sort of an understanding of what you're doing. And the more you understand it, the easier it is to do, or the more enjoyable it can be. Sometimes what I like about the inking is that it's sort of a decision, and if I can sort of force myself to not, my biggest problem in life, I think, but especially in drawing, is overthinking things. And sometimes if I feel like I trust the ink a little bit, it's a little easier for me to let go of control. But it is tricky. You know what? I'm going to leave that face for now because I actually don't trust myself to put the nose in the right spot. So we're gonna do that in a minute. Let's just finish this. You know what? I don't think he even needs a lot more rendering here, does he? You know, we could probably do a little bit here. Let's try to not over render this too. You know, that's another challenge I've been trying to give myself. It's like, don't over render things. You see, even something that looks so simple sometimes takes just so much work, for me at least, to get there. You know, it's going to look fast, right? I hope. But I've been kind of just thinking about this and sketching on it for a couple days now, you know, which, you know, this is technically an at-show commission. So this person's getting a bonus of me actually giving it a little more time here at home, here in the live stream. But that's cool, you know. We're getting there on this face, though. I think if I can get that in there. Have I drawn on Finch's stream? I've not drawn on his stream. I've watched a couple of his streams. Finch is great. Finch is great. I was actually watching one of his streams about drawing faces just the other day. He has such a great understanding of sort of the technical side of things that he's a great reference point for anybody trying to learn a technique or struggling with something in comics. His streams are actually, they're very cool. They're very, very cool. I still just cannot seem to find this face. We'll get it. We'll get something that'll work at least. Worst case scenario, we'll get something that works. Best case scenario, we get something that feels perfect. Right? I'm gonna go. I think the problem is I'm trying to make him have a smirk, and I don't think he wants a smirk right now. I think he's serious. So maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Just let Gambit be serious, Tyrell. I get in the weeds on faces quite a bit. I think it's one of the harder things to draw, and part of it is that I like my faces to feel expressive and hopefully be sort of interesting looking. So I think I agonize over them quite a bit. Okay, let's just draw in a structure here. Sometimes you gotta go in and just sort of structure it out a little bit. Oh yeah, that's better. Is that it, or is that just better? That might be it. All right. Getting his nice tux dirty, yep. Proco course, big eye opener and page composition. Okay. What's Proco though? Is that a thing, or is that an abbreviation for something? Sorry, I'm out of the loop on that. I actually might start offering some sort of class or mentoring type sessions for people that want to learn comics. I haven't really worked out the details yet, but I'm taking over some of my buddies' students and I'm going to see how that goes. But if anybody be interested in that, let me know. I love sharing information and talking to people that are hungry about comics. And Okay. That's pretty close to good enough to start erasing, I think. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Online art school kind of thing. He has a lot of drawing courses. I had no idea. Okay, cool. Good to know a couple people are interested. All right, so this is the last sip of this. I'm gonna drink water here, and we're gonna erase and see how badly I've done. I might want a couple touch-ups on whiteout, and then we're gonna. Some of this will obviously need a little bit of working up. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Might even do some pink on this for the energy. I'm not sure if I'll get to that today, but that could be a cool touch. I could potentially do the purple scarf. That might be too much. Okay, so I definitely want to white out a couple things. Fairly okay with this. I'm not crazy about his mouth, and I'm not crazy about that hand over there. I think I can do something a little cooler. And we might stop there. Let's see. Let's see if I have any ideas while I'm doing it. Feels good to be back though. Like I said, it's been a minute. I had every intention of streaming the last couple weeks, but yeah, you know, stuff. My daughter is starting school soon, so I'm sure I'll get a little bit of time back then. Because we still watch her a couple days a week at home here, because she's just in daycare. But that's cool. It's just hard sometimes to get all the work done. That's the only downside to it. Yeah, I just think I can do something a little better with that hand that's going to sell the awkward angle I have it at, which I think is cool, but I'm sure a lot of people will be confused by it. We'll see. Try to be expressive, you know. I try to think more about, on the commissions especially, I try to think more about the expressiveness of it than the having it be perfect. Whereas when I'm doing pages, it's a little harder to do that all the time because, you know, you're having characters move through a scene, and I think the majority of people are going to respond better if they have a somewhat consistent look to them. So I try not to be too wild sometimes, although I do try to let it out on occasion on the page for books. And if it's one of my comics, I get real wild, as you guys will see when Eris 3 is out. And on the schlub, I had a few opportunities to do that, but it was, you know, I still tried to keep it in a you know, a realm of like somewhat sameness, you know, that where things felt somewhat connected in the world we built. All right, get these little hairs coming off of here. Change this direction a little bit right here. These are minor things, but I think they'll help the head read a little better, hopefully. Because when you do this more expressive method, sometimes the little things like the direction of hair or something gets a little lost. All right. All right. Is there anything else I need to white out here? Maybe just a little bit on this seam on the shirt. That could be a fun little touch. And maybe a little bit on the leg there. Yeah, yeah. It's the little things. Little things, little things. All right. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, I just had another idea that involves some screen tones, because I did just get some screen tones. It'd be a shame if I didn't put them to use, right? So one show I'll be at in September is the Cartoon Crossroads Columbus show in Columbus, Ohio, if any of you guys want to come out to that. They just announced their special guests today, and I was like, whoa, it's quite a list of special guests. They got, who do they got? They got Art Spiegelman. They got my pal Ben Passmore. They've got, who else? Oh my gosh, I'm spacing on them now. I was very amazed at how many good guests they had. So that will be a fun show. It's a cool show because it kind of straddles sort of self-publishing indie stuff and more sort of mainstream stuff, especially mainstream in the sense of book market, mass market book, like comic stuff. But they have superhero guys there too. They have some superhero guys, usually older school superhero guys. And I'll be there. I don't know that I'm a superhero guy necessarily, but I guess I do draw superheroes, especially lately. Okay, guys, what do you think? Is that looking cool? I think it's looking all right. Are you going to put his head strap thing? No, unfortunately, Strangelove. This one is just. It's Gambit in a tuxedo is the scene that we're doing. The person requested. So no head sock, and his hair's kind of back in a ponytail. So that's another reason for me it doesn't really look like Gambit. But it does, you know, it's just like in my head I'm thinking of Gambit in that very specific, you know, way. So let's see what we can do with this mouth and this hair. Oh, that's way better. That's way better. I don't know if I'm going to sell this ponytail, but we'll do our best, right? Wasn't sure what I wanted for that hand. But we are going to do a little bit of a cast shadow here. We're going to black out this bow tie. Let's give this some more tooth as it gets. There we go. Go. Let me pop this forward a little bit. Okay, see, I still need white out, so I'm glad I didn't go clean my brush. Gotta bring that edge of that face in there. See if this still has juice here. There we go. Okay. Key here is let's just not mess it up, okay? Just gotta let the stuff that's working keep working. We're gonna accentuate some things just to make them clear, like these little bricks. Some rubble back here to give it some good depth. You know what, guys? If you're going to stick around, I might just stay up and finish this. I was going to leave, but you know what? I bet I can finish this. So if at least one of you sticks up here with me, I'll finish this guy tonight. Yeah, baby. Okay. All right. All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. That's enough of that nonsense, Tyrell. All right, let's see what we can do about these speed lines to just make them read a little more the way I want them to. Looks really awesome. So kinetic. Thanks, BMC. Looking rad. Thanks, Eli. Thank you, Strange Love. I'm not sure if you're a doctor, but I did get some zip tone speed lines that I have not tried yet. I thought about putting them on this, but this is so wild already. I'm just gonna roll with it like this. Like, I don't think those will fit in with what I got going on here. I'll find the right piece for them though at some point. Maybe next week I'll show off some of the stuff I got from Deleter this last week. I got a bunch of zip tones. I got some new paper. I guess that's mostly it, but it's kind of interesting paper. It's manga paper, and that's what I've been drawing on for my newest project. TBD or TBA. Okay, what am I doing with this hand, though? I gotta figure out this hand. Okay, hand. Let's see. That's kind of cool. Let's just do that. I'm not even sure exactly what it is, but it looks cool. Get a little bit of white out on there. I should have brought a water cup in here, but I didn't. My poor brush. There we go. All right. Now, okay, now, what we got here? We got one of these, we got one of these, we got one of these. Let's see which one looks best. Thanks, Eli. I'm glad you like it, seeing it like this, because I don't always get to do the whole process like this, because I'm usually not just in the zone enough to do that. Strange Love, what's manga paper? So I was buying paper that is manga artists use to draw on, so it's a different size. It's more like 8 by 11 almost. It's called A4, and it's a different texture. It's also thinner. So yeah, just trying it out. Shake those markers, thanks. I like the manga paper lately because it's a little bit smaller, and after what I've been doing on my last couple projects, I just was kind of wanting something that was a little more restrictive in the amount of extraneous mark making I could do, to kind of challenge myself to be a little bit more simplified and dynamic in some ways. And so so I started working on that, and it's going really good. It's really fun. All right, guys. So we're going to try some zip tones on here. Let's do it. Okay. Let me get these out of here. Darn it. Can't find the ones I want. Sorry, I just heard something. Okay. Checking my cameras. Okay. What if we did something like that? And yeah, let's do that. Let's try it. What's the worst that can happen, right? If I ruin it, do it again. Eli says the manga paper is also better priced for the quality you get. I tend to agree. The shipping's a little expensive, but you get 40 sheets for like 12 bucks. So it is quite the deal, in my opinion. And I love a deal. Who doesn't love a deal, right? Okay, so we're gonna... And if this doesn't work, well, you know, at least we had fun trying, right? Okay, let's see if it's going to behave and peel off for us. There we go. Oh yeah, baby. There we go. Very good. You stay over there for a minute. All right, it's a white suit. So we don't want this to be the suit color, but we want it to be a shadow so that he stands out a little bit from the background here. And then we're gonna do maybe a little bit of tone on the explosions. Oh, come on now. What are you doing? What are you doing to me, Gambit? Come on. All right. So we're probably going to cut a lot of this away, but... And I probably should... Oh boy, it's going to pull up some of my light out probably, because I can't be patient. I'm such an impatient person. First, let's just take off the excess. And then we can kind of subtract and subtract and subtract. And I'll be finding this crap stuck to my feet for days. It's always the way it is. Like just earlier tonight, I was sitting on the couch, and my wife's like, "What's on your foot?" Here's a piece of screen tones. I was like, "Oh, hey, hang on to that." this is making me really want a Scott and Jean piece face from Nick Force. Well, you know, I love drawing Scott and Jean. I've drawn them before. They are a fun pair. Who doesn't love the original X couple, right? Yeah, one of my favorite Scott pieces was when the guy specifically wanted him to be shirtless. And I was like, all right. And that piece turned out really nice. I did that quite a while ago, I guess now. And then I did one for my Xtober month that I was pretty happy with, too. I like Cyclops. He gets a lot of crap, too, for no reason. People just hate their bosses. I understand. We all been there. But... I have a fairly fresh blade, so hopefully this won't give me any trouble. Any of you guys see Furiosa? I hope so. I guess not enough people have seen it, but I thought it was pretty darn cool. I am a sucker for Mad Max, though. I like all of the Mad Max films. Like, all of them. Even Thunderdome. I actually love Thunderdome. I think it's great. But I thought Furiosa was pretty rad. Definitely a different movie than Fury Road, but pretty cool. I just realized I hadn't been on the stream since that came out. I'm sure I've talked about Mad Max on here before. Okay, that's a good start right there. So now we're going to try to light this just a little bit, maybe. And I'm thinking... Oh, come on now. Come on now. Fist of the North Star for sure, Eli. That is definitely Mad Maxy. Purple scarf. Yeah, I might put purple on the scarf. I'm still debating that. This little piece is probably going to fall off. But hey, we're going to give it a shot. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll stay on there. And you can see I smudged my white out a little bit there. The risk you run doing this kind of nonsense. The other cool thing is when I do the commissions at home, I can do stuff like the zip tones and things. It's a little harder at shows. Not that it's impossible, but I don't always bring all my tones with me because, I don't know, it's just they're kind of a pain to haul around. Okay. Very good, very good. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, so let's cut this out. So I'm literally just sort of subtracting things that I think don't, you know, that where there would be light, you know, and I mean there's light all around him, right? But just something to give it a little bit of drama here near the explosions and everything. So that's sort of the goal right now. Whoops. All right, we're getting a little too hairy here. Let's try to make some big choices now. We're gonna get rid of this guy, I think. All right, let's check in. Sorry, guys. Carriage Furious and IMAX, that'd be cool. Strangelove has to wait for streaming. Cutting the screen is easier than, say, adding a gray Copic marker. No, it's not easier at all. I would say it's probably harder than using a gray Copic marker, but it looks different than a marker. I do have some markers here, and I will use them occasionally. Some gray markers. I think it. That's not true. It's not that the markers would be easier. It's more that with those, I tend to get in the weeds with just like you can do different sort of you know, you can layer them up and kind of get different effects and all that kind of stuff, and that's sorry, and that's like a whole nother thing, you know. Is like, okay, am I gonna layer this, and what am I gonna do for you know, what am I gonna do for how many tones am I gonna use on this part and that part, or how many colors of gray. I'm going to use warm grays or cool grays, whereas the zip tone is almost like an extension of line art in that it's just black and white. And it just reads a little differently. It obviously evokes a certain type of work, but it's also just kind of, like I said, it's more of a graphic element than a value element. Or it's a value and a graphic element, I guess. But I don't know, they're just different. Using the marker is cheaper too. These sheets are like $2 a pop, so, or $4 or $5 a pop, I guess. Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I just remembered what my order actually was. Okay, get a couple nicks and cuts on here. Bring some dimension to this one. That's shaping up all right, y'all, ain't it? Or am I crazy? You can tell me if I'm crazy. You won't hurt my feelings. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know, I said I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and put some tones on these explosions, but I'm going to use a different sheet. I'm going to use a solid instead of the gradation one, and I'm going to clean up the space with whiteout. And I think so. Crazy like a fox, Eli says. Really adds a cool effect. Thank you. All right. Let's get this one out. Like as soon as I get these in the mail, I'm just like so ready to start using them like right away. I've already put them on three things because I put some on that Fist of the North Star commission the other day too. All right. Whoops. Gotta switch my headphone here. Come on. Don't rip. There we go. Not usually how I do it, but oh, baby. There you go. See, and this, I think I can just leave it like that. I don't even think I'm going to scratch into it. This thing's going to fall apart on the way to Heroes. It's going to just fall apart. Nah. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right. Let's get... Oh. Very excited for Heroes. Should be a fun show again this year. This will be my second time at Heroes. last year I stayed a little to go to that Marvel exhibit that was there. This year there's not that, so I might hang out just for a day longer and just check out Charlotte a little bit. Because it was really cool last time I was there. I had a fun time. Okay, should I put one on that explosion? Maybe. Maybe, why not, right? Let's try it. That's an easy one to take off if it doesn't work. Oh, you darn little monkey. I think we're almost seeing it here, guys. I lied. I am going to scratch on these tones, I think, right here. Probably overdoing it, but... All right. So check it. We're going to do this. We're just going to do a little bit on here. Whoops. All right. Let's fix his face. Call it a night, y'all. Just let it be, right? How's that look on the stream? Looks pretty good, right? Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just believe it, Tyrell. Let's believe it. All right. All right, so we're gonna let that dry, and we're gonna kind of see if tomorrow, if it needs any more touch-ups on there. And I think we're gonna call it Dunzo. Maybe just a couple little thingies there like that. All right. Oops, I lost my comments here. Let me see what you guys are saying before I... Never seen the scraping technique. Yep, it's fun to scrape off a little bit while you're working on it. Gives it a little more extra stuff. Well, Nick, I actually did open a mail order commission list. This one was my heroes list, but I did allow people, if they want to be on it, to sign up still. And, you know, if you are interested in a commission right now, I probably have maybe 2 more spots left for the year. So feel free to get on my mailing list or email me at tkannoncomics@gmail.com. Heroes should be cool. Yeah, Drew Moss is going to be there. Cool. Different between the screen the screen tone sheets, says Strangelove. Yes, there is a difference. Some of the screen tones are a solid tone that makes one one tone, and other ones, like the one I used here, are sort of a like a gradient of tone that comes down from dark to light, or you know, sometimes you can also get shapes and stuff that and like different textures on screen tones. Like I said, maybe next week I'll pull some out so people can kind of see what the different ones look like. But if you go to the Deleter website, you can kind of see their whole catalog. I think they'll send you a catalog for free of like what the different tones look like. I get one every time I order stuff, so I've got like 4 over here. But yeah. So yeah. All right, folks. There's Gambit. Enjoy your evenings, and I am going to get out of here and go relax for the rest of the night. So thanks, everybody.